Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second day of the webinar on community-based initiatives to build farmers' capacities on sustainable soil management. Yesterday, we heard about three remarkable initiatives: the Volunteer Soil Doctor Program from Thailand, the Global Soil Doctor Program by the Global Soil Partnership FAO, drawing inspiration from the Thai counterpart, and India's innovative snake and ladder game. Today, we have two major and impactful initiatives on stage: the Farmer Field Schools and the Missing Middle initiatives. And again, please recall that towards the end of the session, so let's say in the last half an hour of today's session, there will be the time to hear from you on the strategies that you usually adopt for training farmers. So if you feel like sharing, we are willing to listen. I would like now to give the floor to the first speakers of the day, Mr. Stefano Mondovi and Mr. Jan Willem Ketelaar from the FAO Global Farmer Field Schools platform. Mr. Mondovi and Mr. Ketelaar, the floor is yours. Just a second that I share your presentation on my screen.
Thank you, Lucretia, for that kind introduction. And both Stefano and I are delighted to present some field school experiences with relevance to the topic of sustainable soil and land management, the experiences we have had over the many decades of work of field schools, particularly in the Asia region. Lucretia, next slide, please. So this is the presentation outline. It is a fairly short presentation divided into 5 parts. First, a section dealing with farmer field school, refresher on the basics, because not all of you might be all up to date and familiar with the concept and how it's implemented. Then a section dealing with why field schools are still very relevant for sustainable soil and land management in Asia, and some past and present farmer field school work on soil health and sustainable soil land management in Asia in the next session. Then we have a 4th section with some potential and challenges that we want to share with you with regards to scale out of farmer field schools as educational platforms for integrated rural development in Asia. And there's a last section that Stefano will present that deals with a brief overview on the Global Farmer Field School platform based in Rome, FAO Rome, what it does, and why it's there to help you in Asia scale out capacity building efforts, and in particular doing so in connection with or through farmer field school interventions. And we welcome your ideas and suggestions, obviously, as well, because we're in the exercise of doing a review, in particular with regards to the Asia region, on where we are with farmer field school programs and where we need to go. So your ideas and suggestions are absolutely welcome. So let me start with the four coming sections of the presentation first, and then Stefano will take over for the last section. Next slide, please. So, first section with a refresher on the basics. As I said, not all of you are likely familiar with the field school concepts and practices and how it's implemented in the field. So let's go over some of the basics in a few minutes. Lucretia, the next slide, and you can basically just continue to scroll through. So farmer field schools are all about learning in the field. And that engages farmers in learning from experiment plots and demonstration plots to learn from the field about ecosystems and about ecosystem functioning and about becoming better farm managers. All of this is done through non-formal education approaches that are well tested and based on solid adult learning theory. They're group-based, so usually we have 25 to 30 farmers coming together on a weekly basis, learning in the field. That also then allows, for example, if you grow together a crop for a 4-month season, take rice, that allows you to adapt particular sort of interventions and good practices to local context. Working with farmers over a full season, every week together in groups of 25 to 30 farmers allows you to then help farmers develop groups, either new groups or based on existing groups. So you work on strengthening of farmer groups through field school interventions, and that then develops a platform for continued action beyond the season, beyond the crop season, going into multiple farmer field school learning cycles, which contribute to the end goal of farmer field schools, and that is farmer empowerment. Next slide, please. So a bit on the farmer field schools, how it started, and particularly how it evolved over a 3-decade period. The farm field schools were first developed in Indonesia in 1989. And that was originally done within the context of a regional program that existed at the time for the development of rice integrated pest management program in South and Southeast Asia. And so as it was developed in Indonesia, it was then taken to the Philippines in the very early 1990s. There it was further developed, particularly the training of trainers modules and how that integrates with farmer field school based training into one season programs that then allows for scaling out of farmer field school interventions. These farm field school programs were then introduced in numerous countries in the Asia region, and that led to the establishment of national IPM programs that were working through groundbreaking farmer education approaches to solve local problems and supporting rural development through farmer field school-based interventions. And since then, the field school approach has expanded into numerous different topics and teams and expanded to other parts of the world. And we can see that in the next slide, Lucretia, where you can see the evolution of farmer field school, the expansion of farmer field schools, both in terms of the context, whether it moves from ecosystems, high yielding irrigated rice production systems, to rain-fed systems, to semi-arid systems, to agripastoral systems, but also in terms of topics, moving from originally the IPM approaches that were promoted for field schools to in rice, to moving to different crops, vegetables, cotton, etc. Then working in livestock systems, rice fish systems, agrobiodiversity, beekeeping, livestock, farmer business schools. And then as we are currently 2020-24 working a lot on farmer field schools and ICT applications, climate farmer field schools to promote climate smart agriculture, and a range of other initiatives. You can also see in this graph that apart from the expansion in terms of context and topics, it also expanded from the origins in Indonesia to over 90 countries these days, where farmer field school approaches are actively promoted and used. And that is basically in all regions of the world, particularly a lot of work ongoing in Africa, but also in Latin America, the Northeast, and other parts of the globe. And to date, some 400,000 to 1 million, it depends a little bit on how you do the counting, farmers are trained per year through these kind of farmer field school interventions around the world. And that's still happening on an annual basis. So you can see it is it has enormously expanded from the humble beginnings in Indonesia, initial field schools, to a global program that promotes farmer empowerment and rural development around the world. Next slide, please. So a little bit of background on past and present pharmaceutical work on soil health in particular, but also how that expands into soil and land management in Asia. Next slide. These are a couple of examples of FAO regional programs that have worked on sustainable soil and land management and promotion of soil health in Asia during the last 3 decades. First of all, there were the regional IPM programs. And of course, these per definition have focused on promotion of good practices for pest disease management. But if you take that serious and use an ecosystem-based approach, then you have to think broader and you have to think about growing healthy crops. And that's why always in these pharmaceutical programs, integrated plant and nutrient management and attention to healthy soils, living soils was central in pharmaceutical interventions. Without paying attention to good nutrition management and what a plant needs to grow or what an animal needs to be able to grow, you would have to think about nutrient management and about living soils in particular. So in the early 2000s, this program already came up with a groundbreaking manual, which was called Living Soils, which introduced farmers to the concepts of soil health as they are now known and promoted through various initiatives in FAO and other programs as well. There was a regional FAO farm program in the 90s based in Bangkok that had a specific focus on sustainable soil and land management. And it also produced a manual on sustainable soil and land management that is still used today and inspires people to engage with the topic. It was also managed from the Bangkok office, a regional initiative that focused on rice, that particularly focused on sustainable intensification and diversification of rice-based farming systems. And that also led then to the development of a new soil health manual that was published 2 years back. It's called Soil Health for Paddy Rice. And you can download it actually from the Global Pharmaceutical website. It includes numerous exercises that you can use in pharmaceuticals to explore the topic of soil health, in particular for paddy rice, and how you can get farmers engaged with the topic through a practical and adult education-based way as part of pharmaceutical interventions. Next slide. So these were a couple of regional initiatives, but then in each and every country, you also have country initiatives, sometimes supported by FAO, but also numerous other development partners are working with national governments and NGOs to work on the topic of pharmaceutical scale out and promotion and development, and particularly also on sustainable soil and land management. But here are a couple of FAO-supported exercises in just one country, in this case, Sri Lanka, where the RICE IPM program worked on this topic. Started in the mid-1990s. There was a Jeff-funded project that from 2015 to 2021 that particularly worked on sustainable soil and land management in highland areas where farmers were dealing with lots of issues regarding to erosion as a result of intensification of farming and highland production systems. And currently we have a RISE-UP project, and Dr. Priyanta will give us a detailed presentation on the very inspiring and active work on integrated plant nutrient management that's ongoing right now in Sri Lanka. So I don't focus on this one. But it's good to know that all these programs and projects have developed various pharmaceutical manuals in English, but also in local languages, Tamil and Sinhala. And there are various e-courses developed in local languages that help farmers engage with the topic through pharmaceutical interventions. Next one. And so why pharmaceuticals continues to be relevant for sustainable soil and land management in Asia? Why do we still think pharmaceuticals are one of the best ways to engage farmers with this particular topic? Next slide. Obviously, as I think Lucretia will have addressed in various previous webinars, the topic of sustainable soil and land management is extremely important for various reasons to allow countries and organizations to work towards achievement of sustainable development goals, the Paris Agreement on Climate, the Biodiversity Convention. Working on sustainable soil land management is extremely important to be able to achieve these sustainable development goals and commit countries to active work on achieving their commitments to various conventions. But realizing that sustainable soil and land management are extremely knowledge-intensive technologies and good practices. These are extremely difficult to practice to just promote through traditional transfer technology exchange-based extension systems, and you really need to work with farmers through participatory and innovative ways, and education-based ways to promote these knowledge-intensive technologies and good practices and allow farmers to learn by doing. And that requires what we think, particularly farmer field schools, as these are uniquely qualified and effective for development of associated knowledge and skills as required for adoption by smallholder farmers. So in summary, we do think that farmer field schools are one of the best ways to engage with farmers on this particular topic. And we look forward to exploring that with you as part of this and continue discussions on how we can promote and scale out these kind of farmer field school interventions on this topic in Asia. Next slide. So a final section that I will deal with before we go to the Global Farmer Field School presentation is some potential and challenges for scale out of farmer field schools as educational platforms for integrated rural development in Asia. Next slide. So we see a lot of potential for scale out for farmer field schools as educational platforms. Farmer field schools are well accepted and integrated in public and private sector rural development outreach programs, education extension system in most Asian countries. And these implementation networks, field school implementation networks, are existing in most Asian countries at national and local level. And provided there is substantial investment in capacity building in terms of refresher and upgrading networks of trainers, these implementation networks can be easily mobilized for large-scale sustainable soil and land management, rural development outreach efforts, as we have seen, for example, in Sri Lanka quite recently, and as Dr. Priyanta will present in the next presentation. Next slide. We also see some challenges, in particular scale up of farmer field school while maintaining quality. There's a lot of pressure to quickly scale out. Field schools are can be sometimes relatively expensive intervention, and there's always a lot of pressure to reduce cost, and that puts lots of pressure on maintaining quality. It also requires a lot of capacity and skills of farmers and trainers, in particular, to adapt and to learn new things and be flexible in terms of adapting the approach to location, situation, specific needs. And there are obviously also there is a need for good monitoring, evaluation, and learning systems. There's a lot of work ongoing at the moment that we invite you to take a look at, including using digital approaches. But these are all essential to be able to maintain quality. Resource mobilization challenges, as I mentioned, it is sometimes difficult to find sufficient resources to support these interventions. That said, if you look at the country level implementation of these programs, there are numerous donors and partners that are willing to engage with these programs if they can get a guarantee that targets are met and that quality interventions are supported. Strengthening networks and improving global coordination is obviously a challenge, and that's also why we are most keen to take part in this webinar to bring you up to date on what's happening in terms of pharmaceuticals in this particular area, but also on how you can connect with, for example, the Global Pharmaceutical Platform to strengthen networks and help us all improve global coordination and innovation of these pharmaceutical programs. This was the last slide, I believe, that I was going to take, and then Stefano will take over with a brief overview of the Global Pharmaceutical Platform. Stefano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jan, and thank you, Lucrezia. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I will focus on the Global Pharmaceutical Platform. And please, Lucrezia, next slide, please. So the FAO Global Pharmaceutical Platform is operational since the 2018, and it was developed due to important changes at the global level. The first big change was that FAO has been increasingly called upon to provide policy assistance on pharmaceutical strategy and for the harmonization of the approach at national level. Indeed, now many countries have integrated the FFS approach into their extension policies and strategies. The second important change it was that the FFS approach has spread rapidly based on the strong demand and the success in several countries with numerous various donors and partners such as national government, but also donors such as IFAD, World Bank, GEF, Green Climate Fund. But the platform mainly consists of a website, online discussion groups, and a library. But more than this, the platform is a community of people who practice pharmaceutical. It's a network of partners to exchange experience, knowledge, information, expertise, documentation. The main objective is promoting a quality FFS, to maintain quality FFS in the field through capacity development, project support, and knowledge sharing. Next slide, please. Around 1,800 members from 136 countries participated at the activities of the online platform in the discussion groups. The platform received around 30,000 visits per year, and it contained 12 thematic pages. Thematic pages such as climate change, nutrition, and fishery, aquaculture, youth, gender, social inclusion, etc. With a specific focus on all these thematic. And then more than 500 documents are in the library, documents such as curricula for FFS and guidelines for facilitator, manual, impact studies, etc. 2 learning course, but non FFS, but now we are developing other and in preparation. Next slide, please. Okay, now what about the future of FFS? The pharmaceutical has been now recognized as one of the best approach in FAO Now it is one of the most important FAO program. Is a flagship FAO flagship, as it demonstrated very good impact on the ground among the farmer communities. In the last year, we launched an internal-external process to image the future of FFS and to have a long-term vision and and to define also priority action and priority thematics, etc. So after several internal external meeting within FAO, we organized a very large, very big workshop in Malawi. It was attended by Pharmacy School experts coming from more than 40 countries all around the world, from Latin America, Asia, Africa. And on this, in this occasion, we discussed and all together about what about the future of FFS, and we identify some main themes, topics, and among these, we identified like climate change, protection of biodiversity, to protect biodiversity, and food and nutrition security as the main pillars. And special attention will be given to youth, gender transformation, and innovation, combined with a strong focus on agri-food system, which go beyond only the production to include also value chain, business linked to the market, etc. So this was more or less a picture about the future of Pharmacy School discussed during this workshop in Malawi. Next slide, please. Here you have some reference and regarding the platform. Also the main publication, but in the platform you can also the e-learning course, but in the platform you can find all of this kind of information. So the first reference is most important. Next slide, please. So now, as mentioned by Jan before, one of the objectives of this webinar is to assist the global Pharmacy School platform in reviewing the FFS program, taking into consideration to also the regional and the country priorities for integration into FAO regional strategies. So we listed some suggestions for collaboration, but we would like also to receive your ideas, your suggestions. So just to list a suggestion we are proposing as a support for the project implemented in Asia, support innovation and the institutionalization of Pharmacy School, joint publication, key topics including soil health, project visibility with articles and news in the regions, and also development of and the translation of a key document e-learning course also in local language. Okay, and finished. So new ideas, suggestion of collaboration are welcome. Much appreciated. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Lucrezia.
Many thanks, Stefano, and many thanks, Jan, for this very good presentation. Before giving the floor to the audience to ask their question, that anyway, I saw they already started to ask in the Q&A, and Jan started promptly to reply to them, but also to share their ideas, suggestions for improvement of the program, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Priyanta Werazinge, Integrated Plant Nutrient Management Expert from Rise Up project at FAO Sri Lanka, that will present about the experiences and results of recent farmer field schools work on integrated plant nutrient management in Sri Lanka. And after his presentation, we can take questions and also hear from participants on their ideas and suggestions for improving the program. So now, Mr. Werazinge, the floor is yours. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Lucrezia. Shall I share the screen? No.
Yes, you're allowed to share the screen if you like to do so.
Okay. Good day to all of you who are really keen on capacity building of farmers in soils and land management. My name is Priyantha Veerasinghe, and I'm presently working as the Integrated Plant Nutrient Management Specialist of the Rise Up project, which is implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations with the funding support from the European Union. This project, in fact, was initiated during the crisis period of the country at which inorganic fertilizers were not available to farmers. So farmers were asked to work only with the organics, and which brought lots of problems to the farmers as well as reducing the national production. So the Rise Up project in this background commences with the distributing of inorganic fertilizers to farmers, and therefore wanted to promote correct use of fertilizer. So therefore the project identified integrated plant nutrient management as its key message, which is a holistic system of land management. The farm field school approach was proposed as the mode of capacity building of the farmers. Therefore, FFS to be implemented to bring this IPNM to them, so we need to train a set of facilitators to go and work with the farmers. So for training the facilitators, we develop a course, and its learning outputs I will show in next. Well, I should say that Mr. Chan Ketala was with me to plan the FFS and to train the facilitators, and also he joined with me for a monitoring mission at last. So it is who really introduced FFS to me. Thank you. Okay, so these are the basic learning outputs we decided for our course. The first to understand about the soils, and once you see those things, you will see that they are more inclined towards the land and soil management rather than the rice crop production. So the first one is to understand the importance of soil quality, soil functions, and the properties of rice growing soils. The second is to identify the key constraints that limits rice soil productivity and know the significance of soil carbon. In fact, in this course, we tried our best to highlight the importance of soil carbon because it plays a major role in soil quality improvement. So then the third learning outcome is the importance of plant nutrition and how to assess basically the indigenous soil fertility. And then we try to introduce the concept behind the IPNM and its importance. Then we taught them how to practice IPNM at farm field level while increasing the crop yield, and also how to improve the nutrient use efficiency, assuring the long productivity in these rice lands. Then we taught them about the use of mobile soil test kits, basically to test their soils, to check their indigenous fertility, and also to use the leaf color chart in applying nitrogen fertilizers. Then we taught them how to interpret soil test reports and recommendations issued by the soil testing laboratories, and then learn how to prepare the high quality compost and the biochar for field application. And then as the final outcome, we took their knowledge on the best practices of the agronomic management of the rice crop to ensure better nutrient uptake at the end. So all these learning outputs were covered through 5 modules, and at each module there were lessons. So I will just tell you only the modules we used. The first one is the quality soil, its functions and soil-related constraints and the important properties. Secondly, the plant nutrition, assessing indigenous fertility and introduction to IPNM. And we covered the one whole model to cover the alternative nutrient sources available for farmers, in which we discuss about the in-situ generation as well as the ex-situ generation and all those things. Then the module 4, we devoted basically to increasing the efficiency of plant nutrient inputs and to achieving high crop yields. And the module 5, we separated for the agronomic management for effective nutrient utilizations by the crop. Okay, next is basically our training program. And in this one, the training program, all the presentations made by resource persons, in fact, were supported by a series of practicals. And these practicals, in fact, help the trainees, basically the facilitators, to understand the basic concepts behind what they have been learned at the class. And of course, I should say the training period was a very short one of 3 days. Probably it may not tally with the farm field school methodology, but we couldn't do anything else because we have to confine that one to 3 days. Okay, however, but during the training, we tried our best to mimic the real FFS situation with these facilitators so that they could go back to the farmers and do the same thing with the farmers. So our TOF therefore consisted of lectures, then practicals, the field activities, and icebreaker exercises, group works, and everything. So altogether, we trained trained 289 facilitators from all stakeholder agencies to do the farm field schools with the farmers. So here you see some of the pictures of these trainings, and in which you will see that Mr. Ketala also there in the field, and they are taking samples, listening to the resource persons, and then they are sharing their views with the other groups. So all those things are there. Okay. Then in the next slide, you will see our facilitators are in action and what they are basically doing. So they have in different parts. So they are delivering lectures and demonstrating things, discussions, instruction, and everything with the farmers. So we really found that they are really keen on doing this FFS with the farmers. They were very much inspired by this methodology very much. And so at the moment, in addition, we have really discovered there were some experienced facilitators were also there who had undergone previous farm field school training under the IPM program. So those people also extended their full hands to this young group to do this FFS very effectively. So we selected the maximum of 30 number of farmers per FFS in basically in the eastern side of the country, but later we have to confine the group size to 20 because of the limitations in the project. So next, you will see the farmers in action here, and in which we have in fact created their separate place to have the FFS, one shelter. Now this one you see something they have created in their own, and they have used wool clogs for them to sit in this place. And in addition, they have created their own WhatsApp groups at different places. So here you see how they are actively participating in this FFS. Now in this one, you can see they are agreeing on one point and arriving at one decision on when during their group activity. And here they are going to the field and taking readings by using the leaf color chart. And this person is showing what he has understood and what he has experienced by showing the importance of deep ploughing, which we really introduced to this course because we noticed that the plough layer is coming very close to the surface of the soil. So we need to bring that one down. So we introduced that concept of deep ploughing with the first ploughing here. And in this group also, they are also doing some group work, which you could see very clearly. Okay, and so we, in fact, identified, requested all the farmers and facilitators to identify farmers from close by one tract of field, so they don't need to travel long distances to come to their field. So that was done, and so it really helped them to learn things very clearly and also to observe the changes that are being taking place in the field. Okay, so this one also, some of the farmer products, you see what they have produced during their group exercises. So these are in local languages. Of course, these three are in Sinhalese and these two are in Tamil. In this one, he described how to take the soil sample and how to clean the land and all that, the characteristics of soil and what should be done to improve the soil fertility. And in this one, they describe the type of implements to be used for the deep ploughing things. And this is basically a poster of agroecosystem analysis of identifying different insects and living organisms in the ecosystem. And this one is also the same thing in Tamil. And in this photo, you see a lady farmer is showing a notebook. So we have given them notebooks to each and every farmer. And in this one, she shows the notes she had taken while after attending the classes. So this shows how keen were they with the FFS. Of course, it shows very much too. So I'll come to my last one here. So this is how the farmer participation when we consider all our FFS. So we have conducted nearly 277 farm field schools with these trained facilitators. And altogether we have trained nearly 6,145 farmers, and out of which 4,716 were males and 1,429 were female. And the most interesting thing is we have not observed any dropouts during this course because all the farmers who registered with the course continued to attend the course throughout. So that is really good thing. So that shows the enthusiasm the farmers had shown towards the program and towards the course really. And in addition, I need to highlight that thing, the volunteer farmers. So there were farmers, I mean, in the all 4 districts who attended this course without receiving any kind of material benefits from the project, because from the project we gave some small amount of fertilizers to farmers, but these people, they didn't get anything, but they attended the course throughout without receiving anything, because they say basically, so we want to learn something and we are learning things happily here. So they were very keen on attending this. So with that, thank you very much, all of you, so for listening to me patiently. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, Lucrecia, I hope you can share the video.
Yeah, that was I was about to ask you. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. It started without me playing it. 1 second, I share my screen and therefore also the video. Okay.
In the agricultural heartlands of Ampara, Badulla, Hambantota and Polonnaruwa districts in Sri Lanka, a transformative initiative is taking root. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations is making headway to protect the livelihoods of smallholder paddy farmers through a project funded by the European Union on Integrated Plant Nutrient Management, IPNM. Serving as a catalyst of knowledge dissemination on IPNM, farmer field schools, FFS, are being implemented by Agriculture Extension Officers of the Department of Agriculture and the Mahaweli Authority of Sri Lanka during the 2023-24 Maha season of the paddy cultivation. The Rise Up project aims not only to equip extension officers with essential knowledge and skills, but also to extend vital resources on adopting IPNM to farmers through farmer field schools. The ongoing journey of the Rise Up project signifies a collaborative effort to cultivate sustainable and informed agricultural practices, ensuring the prosperity of smallholder paddy farmers' livelihoods.
එක තැනකට කොටු වෙලා සමිතිය තමයි අපි දැනුවත් වුනේ. දැන් මේ අපි ශේෂ්ත්‍රයට බැහැලා අපට ඒ වගාවන් කරන හැටි මේ වල් පැලෑටි පාලනය කරන හැටි ජල කළමනාකරණය කරන හැටි ඒ සම්පූර්ණ මේ දැනුමක් අපිට දැන් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා මේ ගොවි ශේෂ්ත්‍ර පාසල් තුලින්.
අපි කලින් අපි මේවා දැනගෙන හිටියට අපි ඒක පදනමක් ඇත්තටම දැනගෙන හිටියේ නැහැ. විද්‍යාත්මකව අපි ඒක හිතුවේ නැහැ. අපි අර එක්ක අපි දැන් දැකපු දේ තව කෙනෙක්ගෙන් අහලා එයා කියන දේ කරා අර ඒ වගේ දෙයක් විද්‍යාත්මක පදනමින් ඇත්තටම අපි හිතුවේ නැහැ.
මං හිතනවා වෙනදට වැඩිය නව පිබිදීමක් තියෙනවා කියලා. අපිත් සහ ගොවි මහතුරුන්ගේ මේ වැඩසටහනත් එක්ක මේ වෙනකොට අපිට ලැබිය යුතු ඒ අවශ්‍ය ද්‍රව්‍ය උපකරණ ඒ දේවලුත් අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යන පහසුකම් තියෙනවා.
අපි ගොවි සමිතියක් පිහිටව ගත්තා. ඒකාබද්ධ ශාක පෝෂක වැඩසටහන යටතේ රයිස් අප් ව්‍යාපෘතියෙන් යුරෝපා සංගමය හරහා දෙන මූල්‍ය ආධාරය යටතේ තමයි නඩත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒකෙදී අපිට මූලික දැනුමක් දුන්න අපි ලබාගත් අපේ ළඟ තිබ්බ දැනුමට වඩා
The Farmer Field Schools FFS program is a pioneering effort of FAO to build capacity in increasing fertilizer efficiency and land management practices of rice farmers through IPNM. This approach empowers farmers by fostering a deeper understanding of soil management practices. FAO Farmer Field Schools played a crucial role by incorporating soil testing and the identification of indigenous soil fertility. Farmer Field Schools equipped farmers with essential skills to optimize soil health and nutrient balance.
පස පරීක්ෂා කරලා බලලා ඊට හරියන පෝර නිර්දේශයන් යොදන්න තමයි බලාපොරොත්තුව.
පස් කොටස් ගන්න ආකාරය ඉසට් ක්‍රමයට ලියද්දක අරගෙන ඒක කුඹුර පුරාම ඒ ආකාරයෙන්ම අරගෙන සියල්ල අරගෙන කොටස් වෙන් කළා ඊළඟට පසේ තියෙන විවිධ ලක්ෂණ අපිට පහදලා දුන්නා. ඉතින් විශේෂයෙන්ම කිරිමැටි තට්ටුව තියෙන ආකාරයත් වැලි මිශ්‍ර පස මොකක්ද කියන එකත් ඊළඟට කොම්පෝස් අවශ්‍යතාවය තියෙන පස මොකක්ද ඒ වගේ අපිට එකින් එක පහදලා දුන්නා.
In essence, assessing soil fertility is a pivotal tool in fostering resilient and productive agricultural ecosystems which ensure an optimal crop growth.
පස්සේ pH අගය සොයාගෙන අදාළ රසායනික පොහොර ඒ වගේම කොම්පෝස්ට් භාවිතය මේ සියල්ල ගැන හොඳින් වටහා දුන්නා. ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ අපිට වඩාත්ම වැදගත් වෙන්නේ මේ සෑම දෙයක්ම කටින් කියා දීමට වඩා මේ ප්‍රායෝගිකව ඒවා මේ පරීක්ෂණ කරමින් ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයේ යෙදීමින් තමයි අපිට ඒක පහදලා දෙන්නේ.
10 පුච්චලා කුඹුරට දාන්න, ඒ වගේම මේ කොම්පෝස්ට් පොහොර දාන්න, ඇල්බීසියා වැනි මේ කොළ වර්ග මේ කුඹුරු වලට දාලා හොඳ අස්වැන්නක් ලබා ගන්න ක්‍රමය අපිට ඇත්තටම මේ ගොවි ශේෂ්ත්‍ර පාසල් ක්‍රමයේ යටතේ අපි හොඳ දැනුවත් වීමක් දැන් ලැබලා තියෙනවා.
Farmers were also provided with knowledge about the benefits of utilizing organic materials at different stages of land preparations. This proactive approach aimed to equip farmers with the understanding of how incorporating organic materials into their soils could enhance soil health, promote sustainable farming, and contribute to increased crop yields. By providing this knowledge, farmers were empowered to make informed decisions, adopting practices that not only maximize productivity, but also contribute to the overall environmental sustainability of their agricultural ecosystems. In the realm of paddy cultivation, the correct utilization of chemical fertilizers stands as a key factor in attaining successful and effective output. Accurately assessing the nitrogen requirement of plants utilizing leaf color charts is another crucial practice in IPNM. All farmers were provided leaf color charts and training on how to use these charts and apply the findings.
කුඹුරේ පැල
20ක් විතර නිරෝගී පැළ 20ක් විතර තෝරාගෙන එයින් 10කට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක තැනින් තැන පත්‍රවන්දසයත් සමග ගලපලා ඒ සති ගානට අනුව අවශ්‍ය පෝර ප්‍රමාණය යොදන විදිය තමයි අපි දැනගත්තේ. ඒකෙන් ගොඩාක් පෝර අවශ්‍ය කුඹුරට ප්‍රමාණයට වඩා වැඩි යොදන්න නැතුව අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රමාණයට යොදන විදිය අත අපි ගොඩාක් මේකෙන් දැනුම ලබා ගත්තා.
අපි ඉස්සර පෝර දාවට අක්කරයට මම හොඳ 3ක් ගහනවා. දැන් ඉඳලා ඊට අඩු වල ගානේ.
ත්‍රිපුර පෝර පාවිච්චි කරා අපි දන්නේ නැතු ගමට. දැන් මේ වැඩසටහන යටතේ මේ පෝර මේ අඩුවෙන් තමයි යොදන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
විශේෂයෙන්ම එකෙන් වැදගත්ම කාරණය තමයි මේ ගොවි මහත්තුරු ඒ ශේෂ්ත්‍රයට බැහැලා ඒ ලබා ගන්න අත්දැකීම් තුළින් තමන්ගේ අස්වැන්න වැඩි කරගන්න මෙම ක්‍රියාවලියට දායක වීම පිළිබඳව ඇත්තටම අපිටත් ඒ කියන්නේ ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ වැඩ කරද්දී ගොඩක් පහසු වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The Rise Up project continues to educate farmers on the implementation of integrated plant nutrient management strategies in paddy farming, guiding them through the entire cultivation process until a successful harvest. This ongoing initiative is facilitated through farmer field schools, ensuring that farmers acquire the necessary knowledge and skills to effectively apply IPNM practices. By providing continuous support and practical training, the Rise Up project aims to empower farmers, promoting sustainable and informed agricultural practices that lead to successful and bountiful harvests.
I hope you enjoyed, and again, I would like to thank Dr. Priyanta, but also FAO Sri Lanka for preparing this video. For your information, they really ran to prepare it for us, so thank you very much. I think it was wonderful, and congratulations again on your work. Since we're running a bit late on the agenda, I'm sorry, but I will not open the floor for questions at this stage. Otherwise, I would give the floor to the next speaker. But please, I encourage you all to ask your question as you are doing in the question and answer box, or already start sharing your ideas and suggestions on how the program can be improved by writing in the chat, or again, even if you like, in the question and answer box. Thank you so much. I'm now giving the floor to the next speakers. Again, we will have 2 of the day. Ms. Florentina Williamson-Noble, Capacity Development and Extension Specialist, and Mr. Imanun Nabi Khan, ISU Technical Assistant Coordinator, both representing FAO Bangladesh. Ms. Williamson-Noble and Mr. Khan, the floor is yours for introducing us to the Missing Middle Initiative. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucrezia, and our colleagues from FFS. I've really enjoyed your presentation, and it's just wonderful to be here today with so many colleagues doing inspiring work, and so we're very grateful to be here. Just going to share my screen. Great. Can I just check you can hear me all right and see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we hear you and we can see, but not in presentation modality yet.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, perfect. Thanks.
Wonderful. So myself and my colleague Imanun are very happy to share with you today some inspiration from Bangladesh and our work with producers' organizations on the ground there. The presentation will be split in 2 main parts. The first speaking about our approach to working with producers' organizations more generally. And then I'll hand the floor to Imanun, who will share with you some of the approaches and results we've had around soil health specifically. But first, just a quick picture of soil health in Bangladesh for us. Obviously, it's critical for agriculture, as agricultural GDP is 30% of the overall GDP for the country. And of course, it contributes food for a substantial part of the population. Here we have a very quick snapshot of the situation of land degradation in Bangladesh from a few years back. Our project is working mainly in 2 regions, up here in the northwest part of the country, Rangpur, and down in the southern coastal belt, Borishal. And so in the north, there's quite significant nutrient and organic matter depletion due to heavy chemical fertilizer use. And in the south, in this purple belt here, soil salinization is a significant issue. There's also a lack of awareness in the farming community about the importance of soil health and general skepticism about organic agriculture, particularly as it pertains to large-scale food security. So this just gives you a quick national picture. And then, there we go. And now looking more at specifically at the regions where we work, Borishal and Rangpur. Just a quick snapshot in terms of soil organic matter. You can see the levels are quite a bit below what the standards are. It's the same with nitrogen. And then when we look at phosphorus levels, they're much higher than they should be. So that's just a very quick snapshot. But I want to dive in and really share our experience that strong institutions and technological solutions really have to go hand in hand. We've come to see that producers' organizations are a fantastic hub or center for community problem solving, including soil health issues. And in order for any of these innovations and tools to be shared in a productive way, of course, communities need to understand the benefits and have mechanisms for sharing and adapting the knowledge to their needs. We see this, of course, also in the work our colleagues are doing on farmer field schools. And of course, when the farming communities are organized, particularly in farmers or producers organizations, this exchange of ideas and flow of information is easier and more productive. A quick background on FAO Bangladesh's work with producers organizations. This has been ongoing for many years, beginning around 2011, and has taken place through a variety of projects. Lucrezia has mentioned the MMI, or Missing Middle Initiative. So this was a project that was completed recently, funded by the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program, which wonderfully gives financing to producers' organizations, recognizing that there was a lack of direct support for them. And so the MMI model in Bangladesh is an approach to empowering farming communities to organize themselves and so that they can provide services to their members. I'll go into the details of the approach in a moment, but just some key principles that we really try to keep at the core of our work and not forget, even as things are scaling up and growing. The first, perhaps the most important, is that smallholder farmers and their organizations are partners and not just beneficiaries. So this really allows for everyone at the table to bring their best, to bring their inspiration, and to feel empowered to come together to create solutions that might not be available if we just work in a top-down way. I don't think I need to convince anyone here about the importance of this, but we like to really be explicit about it. And so over the course of these years that FAO Bangladesh has been working with producers' organizations, a national network called the Shara Bangla Krishak Society has emerged as our main partner. We also ensure that interventions are practical and business focused so that when farmers organize, in addition to looking at production related issues, there's also a focus on business and investment. Ongoing support to POs through learning by doing and regular monitoring. And this recognizes that, yes, there may be some limited capacities in some areas at the beginning, but we really take like a hand-in-hand approach through our work, and this way we grow together, and this way POs themselves can also develop their capacity. As much as possible, the growth, not just of crops, but of organizations is organic. So it's not a top-down, develop an organization in order to meet a target, but that the organizations themselves are inspired to continue and move at their own pace. We find that this really brings the best results. And of course, an ongoing focus on trust, networking, and knowledge sharing, and some fun along the way as well. So now I'd like to show you guys a video that we've put together, which is basically gives an overview of the approach that we've taken. Here at the top, you see MMI/Access. So just to mention that Access is a follow-up project to the MMI, where the approach that we've developed will be shared in more communities. So I will now start the video.
This is the story of Kishan and Kishani and their fellow farmers from a village called Shantipur. No matter how hard they tried, they could not get a fair price for their harvest. Production costs were high. They earned very little to support their family. One night, Kishan came back from the market with only a few taka.
Again, I couldn't get a fair price for our tomatoes.
Why is this happening to us?
It's not only us. Most farmers here have the same problems.
Something has to change, or we'll all go hungry.
I know, but what?
As she kept on tying knots for the fences, Kishani realized something very important. Every knot she was making in a row, the fence was getting stronger and stronger. I know! What we need to do is work together with other farmers. My auntie in Nachol told me that all the farmers there work together and are truly thriving.
Yes, a farmers' organization. That's what we need. Let's invite all the struggling Shantipur farmers to a meeting tomorrow.
Next morning at the farmers' meeting, hello everyone. I called us together this morning to talk about our situation. Things aren't working well for any of us, are they?
We all have the same problems. Lack of finance, lack of information, high production costs, and not getting a fair price for our produce.
But we can't change our fate if we keep working separately. If we start a farmers' organization, we can pool our resources, share information, have stronger bargaining power, and most importantly, be there for each other in times of crisis. What do you think?
Great idea! We agree!
Okay, how should we proceed? I think that first, we should identify our activities and needs so we can know what services to provide.
We should also define our vision and establish a constitution. Legal registration and a bank account would also help us greatly.
Everyone participated in the discussion, and together they made a plan to start a farmers' organization, the Shantipur Krishak Society. Hearing this news, farmer leaders from the Sharabangla Krishak Society came to help. They gave training on how to build a strong organization and how to gain access to finance. With their guidance, the Shantipur farmers then began to collect savings from their members and started a revolving loan fund. Members borrowed money and then repaid it so it could be borrowed again by other members. The fund was also used for community investments, like a machinery rental center, a seed bank, and an agricultural information and training center. They also began to sell their produce together, so they had a stronger negotiating position in the market and could finally get a fair price. They started bulk buying inputs, and so production costs decreased. Business started to grow, and young people even started farming. But little did the farmers know what was coming when the pandemic came to Shantipur. They panicked. Because of the lockdown, they could not get to the market and were on the brink of going out of business.
What are we going to do? I feel so hopeless.
We mustn't forget that we are part of a larger network of farmers. Let's call Sharabangla for help. They found out that farmers within the Sharabangla network had started virtual call centers in their villages. They were using mobile phone technology to buy seeds and fertilizer, sell their harvest, and get market information. The Shantipur farmers started their own call center. It made business possible again for everyone.
Hooray!
All the farmers celebrated. Now, several years since the farmers' first meeting, the Shantipur Krishak Society is offering more and more services to its members. The organization is flowering into a full farmer business ecosystem. Everyone works in harmony and is able to support their family and their community. So, what do Kishan and Kishani want to say now to all farmers in Bangladesh? When you trust and work in harmony with others,
you and your community can truly thrive.
But wait, there's one more thing we have to look at. Bring back that ecosystem for me, please. This story wouldn't be complete without telling you about two partners that support Sharabangla's network of farmers: the Global Agriculture and Food Security Programme, GAFSP, and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. GAFSP provides inclusive finance for smallholder farmers, and FAO provides technical knowledge and practical support.
Together, they help bring the farmers' organisations' ideas to life. And if we look at everything offered here in this ecosystem, I think we can all agree.
It's a winning partnership.
Great. So I hope you enjoyed.
This is the story of...
Sorry. There we go. We had a lot of fun making that video, and yeah, we just find it a sweet way to convey some of the important approaches that we've taken. And we'll put a link to it in the presentation in case anyone is interested. It's also available in Bangla. And then just to break down the three main elements of the approach. I won't go into much detail here, but the first, as you saw also in the video, is to build institutional capacity and governance processes. So to make sure that the organization itself has a really good foundation of leadership and trust and some of the basics, registration, bank account, and executive committee. And then once this foundation is in place, we move into building business skills and technical knowledge of the POs. And so there's a lot going on. And as you could see in that ecosystem drawing, there are many, many elements to this approach. And they touch on many areas of the farming reality. But I just want to highlight here the common facility centers. So once POs have developed some business planning capacity and also knowledge related to production in their particular value chain, they're given a grant to establish a common facility center, a matching grant, along with some savings from their side. And here is where my colleague Imanun will later show some work around vermicompost. And so this is like a common facility center that is available. The fertilizer that comes from it, the compost, that comes from it, is available to the community. So I just wanted to highlight these common facility centers. Then in the third phase, with a strong institutional foundation, business skills, technical knowledge, market understanding, POs are supported to access community-based financing. And this is in two ways. One is through establishing a revolving loan fund. And so this is a combination of the PO member savings, income from the Common Facility Center, and a matching grant from the project. And so here they start a revolving loan fund. And then we also, through the wonderful network of trust and partnership we've developed with many different private sector actors and also banks, we link farmers organizations, producers organizations with external financial providers so that they can also borrow and break some of the boundaries to accessing finance. Then the farmers invest in their relevant value chain, always with a focus on climate smart investment. And then the profits, of course, go to the farmers, but also some feedback into the fund, making a more sustainable loop here. Okay. And in a recent impact assessment of the MMI project, we found an average 35% increase in annual household income and many other tangible outcomes. And if you're interested in seeing the impact assessment, we will happily share that. But of course, we see also some very solid structures are now in place in order for communities to innovate and problem solve around different areas, including soil health improvement. So we have one more short video for you about SBKS's work on vermicompost, and then Imanun, my colleague, will take the floor to share a bit more about that. Thank you so much.
যেহেতু ভার্মিটা হলো জমির প্লান্ট, কারণ এই যে প্রসার হচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে এত চাহিদা বাড়তেছে, আমাদের তো আর ক্যানভাস করার দরকার নাই। যখন আমরা যখন গোবরটা ক্যাম্পাসে দেই আর ও জায়গায় যখন আমরা কেঁচো ছাড়ি, তখন এইটা মানে 15 দিনের মধ্যে কেঁচো কিন্তু এই গোবরটা খেয়ে ফেলায়। এই 15 দিন পরে গোবরটা চালিয়েছে, এই চালিয়েছে কিন্তু 20 দিনের মধ্যে একটা উঠে যায়, নেট উঠে যায়। তো এইভাবে আমি পরিকল্পনার শুরু থেকে শেষ পর্যন্ত দেখছি যে আমার এই সাড়ামালা কৃষক সোসাইটির ভার্মি কম্পোস্টের যে ব্যবসাটা, এটাই হবে সবচেয়ে লাভবান ব্যবসা বাংলাদেশের মধ্যে। আর তাদের শিক্ষা নিয়ে আমি আজকে তার সেই টাকার পরামর্শে আজকে আমার নাম কিন্তু এই এলাকায় রাখছে, আমি জিরো থেকে হিরো।
Okay, Iman, the floor is yours.
So thanks, Florentina, Lucrezia, other panelists, and also colleagues. So you hear that where you started. So over last 10 to 13 years, we worked with more than 10,000 smallholder farmers and the network called Sarabangla Kishok Society. So the foremost challenge was with soil. When we started the work, farmers often gave testimony that soil is like a chunk of chemicals. So fertility lost in northern side is drought, and also organic matter depleted. In coastal side is salinity. And we promoted vermicompost, it's not new to you, heavily in northern and southern sides. So now for our work of last 1 decade, vermicompost is widely disseminated among farmers. So each farming households, those have at least 2 to 3 cattle in their herd, they have a small pit. The main challenge say that the doses of vermi or any other biologically active fertilizer in soil is a bulk volume, say per acre, recommended dose is 1 ton. So how to produce it? So with the very teeny families, they can merely produce their vermi for their own purpose. But if we at Bangladesh, agriculture is transforming from semi-commercial to commercial agriculture. So, rice, other commercial vegetables, fruits, even non-fiber crops. Or if we want to replenish soil, so we need more production of biologically active fertilizers like vermicompost or other organic fertilizers. So our challenge is to how we translate this to commercial ventures. So you see in the cattle hut, this is the largest cattle hut in the northern sides. So this cattle hut leased by the institution, which Florentina mentioned how we developed the institution. So this is one of the strong institutions. They lease this cattle hut, and it's a blessing for them that the wastage of sedang, and also the cattle hut, also a part of this hut is for vegetables, so left out vegetables and dung all goes to the vermicompost plant named Mohilata. Mohilata means earthworm, so Bengali name of earthworm, vermicompost. So we all know that vermicompost is nutritive organic fertilizer, rich in NPK, micronutrients, beneficial soil microbes like nitrogen fixing bacteria, mycorrhizal fungi, and other scientifically proving as miracle growth promoter and protectors. But our innovations is, say, we made it commercially through the help of the government, local government, because this hut mainly leased by the cooperative keep up on a trust on the cooperative that they can manage this large cattle hut. And also government allocate a abandoned store to them to produce. You see in the video that in a dark, shady, large store, they have more than 100 peat for vermicomposting. So over last 5 years of work, out of the 55 organizations, we have trained, facilitated to 9 producer organizations for commercial production of vermicompost. So altogether, they produce 15,000 tons of vermicompost, of which some they use for their own purposes, for local purposes, and more than 30% they sell to corporates, private sector, and also exporters. They are contract growers, because there are some organic, and also there are some recommendation for soil amendment from the buyer side and the foreign market. So exporters are also collecting vermicompost from these organizations. And we saw that from the laboratory analysis that this vermi contains recommended NPK and other nutrients and also microbes. And farmers experience that they can cut NPK cost by 37% and production yield by 24%. So these are commercial. So we are working with government to upscaling this in the southern side also. We can show you some other innovations for developing some biologically activated fertilizer. So we are also working with Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institution, seeing that vermi process is slow. You see Jabbar mentioned that it needs at least 35 days for one batch. So we need more, because they are receiving more demand from other farmers, distance farmers, from corporates, private sectors, also from research institutions for their own farming land, for the experiment test process, or also test trial for their trial field. So Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institution come forward, and they made an memorandum of understanding with Chara Bangla Krishak Society. So jointly they developed one biologically active organic fertilizer named Baofar, and another one is indigenous microorganisms. So if we go to the next slide, I can show you some ingredients. What are the ingredients they use for Baofar preparation, which are locally available, and farmers can prepare it at home. The innovations we made, we made some entrepreneur, some advanced level farmer, those have some good wisdom on soil health. So they, as a master trainer for soil health management, they are mainly preparing this, and they sell it to the organization retailing it to the individual farmers, and also some of the other companies also buying it. So here is the formulation how Baofar is prepared. I can show you the IMU preparation also in the next slide. So IMU is a microbial consortium. One IMU solution made in aerobic condition, another one is anaerobic condition, with the same ingredients in different status. So it's give you the required microorganisms for the soil, and it's replenish the soil with beneficial microorganism. So I mentioned you that one is aerobic and another is anaerobic. The magic is that in the field where you use this IMO, so some parts of the soil should be added there, so that locally adaptive microorganism in the ecosystems also grow in this liquid. So these are the mainly two things we added with the vermicompost. So farmers, and the main challenge is to make it commercial. And Florentina, in her introductory slide, she mentioned that there are lots of skepticism among the policymakers, among the investors, among the DPs, even the NGOs even. So use of these may slow down the whole process of the transformation, maybe. But yeah, there are testimony of our farmers who receive that. Farmers are telling that it seems, one farmer mentioned that soil seems to have returned to what it was 3 generations ago. So yeah, they are receiving some good vibes from the soil, those who understand soil. And we are making some partnership with, in the next slides, the chemical composition of Baofar and IMU and recommended dose of Baofar and IMU. So scientists of Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, they mentioned that if you use complete biologically active fertilizer, you don't need to apply any chemical fertilizer, but you know that there are slow pace of development of 1 peat of buffer or 1 peat of 1 batch of vermicompost. So farmers sometimes have to use chemical fertilizer. So then this buffer and IMU and chemical fertilizer ratio is 50-50. So with these innovations, we are also developing some partnership with Netherlands Water Partnership for saline soil area. To mitigate saline D from the soil, and also with Bari, we are continuously working with Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institution, Shara Bangla Krishak Society to disseminate their technology for amendment of soils, especially the top soils. So that's all from my side. Thanks for your patience, colleagues. If there is any questions, we are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imanun, and thank you very much also to Florentinan. I think your presentation was very, very good. Indeed, the only question that we have in the chat about it, it's not a question, but it's a great congratulations for your very well prepared presentation. I'm opening now the floor for questions. Anyone would like to take the floor and ask their question live? If not, I can anticipate some of the questions that I received. Yes, I see a hand up. So let me allow you to just a second. Jegan Sekar, I'm allowing you to talk. Please feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I think I hope it's audible. Yeah, it was nice. So the vermicompost preparation and the local method of preparation, the input to manage it. So here how the the two products function in different agroecological. Have you tested in different places or in only one? So because certain things you have mentioned about the soil. So can you just give a brief on the two inputs, last IMO, like another product, how it functioned in different ecological places?
Can I answer this one, Lukraja? Yeah. So thank you, Shekhar. Yeah. So we mainly working in two climatic hotspots. One is drought prone, where organic matter and topsoil nutrient depleting, and another one is a coastal region where salinity is an issue. So under saline condition, we saw that soil needs some other amendment along with application of Baofar and IMO and Vermi before applying this one. So for saline soil, there are some protocol for reducing salinity, and cover crops say pulses, pulse, especially pulse production, and also use of some conservation engineering, conservation agriculture technology was placed there, and then we applied, and it's really changes in the soil. The main problem is that the area where we were working in the coastal area is sandy, so another problem. One is salinity, another one is sandy, and another problem is due to repeated tidal surge. Sometimes it's flash away, sometimes water recessed, delay. So there are also waterlogging problems. But yeah, in some highland in the coastal area, it's worked really well. But I don't say that in the downstream of the coastal sites, mainly in the sea-facing sub-districts, we didn't get very good results. We have to wait for other amendment or either controlling of the waters through sluice getting. But in the northern area, for the drought-prone area, it's really worked very well. Soil gave response tremendously in last 3 years, and farmers gave. So there are two farmers impression and also lab impression. So both are positives. So these are the results in our hand. But I think the scientists, those who are working, there is a young scientist group working in BRI. So we have scientists from the soil lab, from the toxicology lab. Also, they are accredited with IFOAM. So yeah, in any future webinar, I hope Lucrezia, we will link them with Lucrezia, that so that they will be here. They're the main expert people, so they can also give you exact results from lab and field.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sir. Yeah, thank you. So sorry, I have another thing. So you have mentioned that details of the product. So it has some chemicals. How about like if the farmers want to adopt this one, did they know about where to purchase the chemicals and how much used to chemicals like boric acid and magnesium? And you have mentioned some other, there are 4 or 5 chemical substances is there in that formulation. So maybe can you just enlighten on that aspect, how the farmers are managing to use or manage to get, and how like.
Yeah. So from our work and also government work, government say work with farmers field school approach for last many decades. There are some advanced farmers we have. So these advanced farmers are the master trainer for soil amendment. So we invited them. Say in Borishal region, there are 3 advanced farmers. They are mainly the entrepreneurs. So they have some skills on that one. And the scientists also there, we also working with their, so buying, say, calcium sulfate or magnesium sulfate, copper sulfate, boric acid. So, in the local dealer shop is available. So the quantity is very important. But we gave them weight machine, digital weight machine, so at least to maintain some precision level of this.
Okay.
And these people are well educated. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's good. Good luck.
Thank you very much, all. We are a bit running out of time. So I was wondering, Florentina, do you want to answer the question that you're actually answering in the Q&A live, so we don't leave any pending?
Yes, no problem.
Thanks.
So Davina, I see you asked a question about how many POs are there and how long they've been operating, and a question about sustainability issues. Okay, so under MMI, which ran from 2016 to 2023, we partnered with SBKS, the national network, to work with its 55 member POs, which comes to a total of about 10,000 smallholder farmers throughout the country in the northern and southern areas. And now under Access, which is a follow-up project to MMI, which is just getting started in these last months. It's quite exciting. FAO and SBKS will work to expand this approach to 60 new communities, again, in the northern and southern climate hotspots. In terms of long-term sustainability issues, I think it's all of our question. SBKS is still a young organization, having started in, well, it was getting started from 2012, 2013, but becoming more and more official around 2016. So yes, relatively speaking, it's still young, but we see the results of our work are really promising. And there's quite a bit of momentum and enthusiasm, and more from the community itself. Like, our approach is to work with farmers leaders themselves and build their capacity to support other organizations in the future. So trying to build our way out of the work as FAO. And we also see that Sharabangla and its member organizations are starting to have more financial sustainability through the revolving loan funds, as I explained, and some of their own agribusinesses. So yes, we're not naive, but we're hopeful. And please feel free to keep in touch, and we welcome any inspiration and ideas that all of our colleagues here have. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There is also another question for me in the chat, but I don't quite understand. Vanudas, can you please send me an email about it, and I will be happy to answer it. Okay, we are heading towards the end of today's session. I'm sorry, at the end we run out of time, so there is not really the time for interacting more with the audience. I'm very sorry for it. But before leaving you, so that's a sort of interaction we can still have, I would like to ask you some questions through the polls. You know, I love polls and hearing from you. So if you allow me, I would launch a few polls. So poll number 1 is the following. If I find it. Okay, here it is. Were you previously familiar with any of the initiatives and programs discussed during this webinar? So with the Volunteer Soil Doctors Program from Thailand, the Global Soil Doctors Program from the Global Soil Partnership FAO, the Snake and Ladder Games, the Farmer Field Schools, or the Missing Middle Initiative. You can also say that you were not familiar with any of these, or maybe you knew them all. Let's see, I'm keeping the poll open for another few seconds. Please hurry. Okay, I'm ending the poll now. Seems like the most famous one was the Global Soil Doctor Program and the Farmer Field Schools, but also the Volunteer Soil Doctor Program was quite known. And still good that also good proportion of you didn't know about any of these programs. We hope that we gather your interest maybe in implementing them. Now let's get there. So let me ask you now if you would like to engage with any of these initiatives and then have them maybe implemented in your country. Again, we have the Volunteer Soil Doctors Program, the Global Soil Doctors Programs, Snake and Ladder Game, Farmer Field Schools, Missing Middle Initiative. You can say none or you can say all of them. How do you feel about this? Let's see. I will close the poll shortly. Okay, I'm sharing the results. Again, the winner seems to be the Global Soil Doctor Program, followed by the Farmer Field Schools, the Volunteer Soil Doctors Program from Thailand. Then we have the Missing Middle Initiative and the Snake and Ladder Game. Sadly, we also have some known, but we hope that this is because maybe you don't work with the farmers and or not yet, you don't work yet with the farmers. But we also have 6 people that said that they would like to work with all these initiatives, which would be fantastic. And now just to really end my list of questions for you, I would like to ask you if you actually have developed or you have in mind an innovative capacity building activity for farmers. Yes, maybe you're working on it or no. If yes, and if you're working on it, you might consider getting in touch with us and share with us your idea, and maybe we can see how to implement it together or have it included in any of the activities that we presented these days. Remember that we are working on the reviewing the Farmer Field Schools program to have it to make it stronger, but also to adapt it better to the context of the Asian Pacific region. So we would really value to listen to your ideas and actually to learn what could work in your country the most. Okay, I'm ending the poll. like now. We reach majority. Okay, very good. Like the majority of you are working on it or already have an innovative capacity building activity for farmers. I will send you a follow-up email to this webinar with the link to the video recording and the presentations. So you will really have my direct contact. And if you feel like sharing, we hope not to breach any copyright, would you mind to let me know, and therefore also would inform the panelists on what you are doing or developing in your country? And as I said, we can, if you like, work on it together or see how to integrate it into already existing initiatives. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we are running 8 minutes late, but with this, I would like to close the webinar. I thank you all of you again for your active participation. Many thanks to all the speakers and panelists. Many thanks. Your presentations were wonderful. And please don't hesitate to contact us in case of questions or need. All presentations, as I said, will be shared by email, and the video recording of the webinar will be made available online for your further reference. So it will be posted on the CESRA website. Once again, thank you all, and we wish you a very good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucrezia. Thank you, all participants.
Thank you, Lucrezia and colleagues. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you.